so much has happened in the past 3 months. The thing I want to chat about the most is this super amazing retreat we put on in late November that I flashed a bunch of photos of in the intro. But before we get to that, first things first, let me tell you about October. More Spanish classes, of course, and I think I'm down to crying like once a week after class, so improvement. In early November, my missions director Dallas and his wife Connie came for a visit to see my work with the deaf firsthand. It was very cool to see them jump into serving and praying with the deaf despite not knowing any sign language. And remember like 2 vlogs ago, I talked about the 2 sisters from Los Cabos that were thinking about joining our team? Well, I guess they like this ragtag bunch of Americans enough to move to Ensenada long term and serve with us! And man, did we throw them in with the sharks, because 1 week later was our long-awaited Christian deaf retreat up in the mountains. This was also really special because a missions team from Illinois came down to serve with us that week. They even made us a Thanksgiving dinner. It was so delicious. Despite the many hurdles and one of our attendees getting their car stuck on a small cliff, the retreat was a resounding success. About 30 deaf people were able to attend, plus those serving. There was an abundance of games, crafts, puzzles, skits, laughs, and so much fellowship. The deaf were hanging out from like 7 a.m. to 3 a.m. the next morning. And these types of events are so cherished because the deaf really don't feel like they belong unless they are with other deaf that know their language. And of course, we had teaching sessions with both the missions pastor from Illinois, Andy, and our own local deaf pastor, Carlos. It felt like the smiles were never ending, and I truly think a lot of people matured in their faith over the 3 days. Hard questions were asked, sins were confessed and forgiven. God is truly working in this community. In December, we helped out organization Mexico Centros Cristianos para Sordos, or the MCCS, with a conference they were hosting in our city about how to plant deaf churches. It was super helpful because we were able to connect with deaf Christians in a lot of different cities across Mexico. We also found out that there are only 3 deaf Christian pastors in Mexico leading 3 different congregations, one in Tijuana, one in Ensenada, and one in Ciudad de Mexico, while there are 4.6 million deaf people in Mexico. This is truly an unreached people group, you guys. And finally, to wrap up the year with the team, we had our own posada/Christmas party celebrating both Mexican and American traditions. There was charcuterie, tamales, eggnog, chamorrado, white elephant, a piñata, villancicos, Christmas carols, and ornament making for my very special Christmas tree. I also gifted everyone their own ugly Christmas sweater because you can't have a Christmas party without ugly sweaters. And finally, my favorite portion of my vlog, Seasoned Saints, where I ask missionaries who have been on the field for a considerable amount of time what they wish they knew when they were just starting out. Today we have Kim, who served in Ecuador for over 20 years with her husband Guido and their family.
I wish that when I went to the mission field many years ago, that I would have spent more time wrestling out for myself what Jesus' command to his disciples really was. In all of the Gospels, when he tells his disciples to go unto all the nations, a church culture has been created around the term make disciples. And I bought into that and spent many of years trying to make disciples. And I think as I've wrestled through it over the years, I believe that a truer understanding and translation of his command and sending of his people was to go and to witness, to go and disciple. And they're going to teach and to proclaim. But the simple use of the word make disciples, I think I bought into that in a way that made me attempt to do the work of the Holy Spirit. And I did not differentiate between what my job was and what the Holy Spirit's job was. Wrestling that out at an earlier stage, that I would have been able to understand that in my going, discipling and teaching and witnessing and allowing the Holy Spirit to make disciples and to convict and to change and to move, I think I would have had a more peaceful and a ministry that sprung out of a restful posture as opposed to a work-based making things happen posture.
And that wraps up 2024. Thank you guys for supporting me up to this point. I have sent each and every one of you an ornament in the mail as a thank you. And if you haven't received that, please let me know. It's been an honor to serve this community in Mexico, and I can't wait to see what the new year brings. Merry Christmas and Happy New Year to you all. Bye.